Welcome back to Change Your Life. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of Susan B. Anthony dollar coins, exploring their iconic design, hidden treasures, and shocking history as we reveal the top 3 most valuable and ultra-rare US dollar coins. The coins featured in this video include 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar, D Mint, Denver. 1999 Susan B. Anthony dollar, D Mint, Denver. 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar, S Mint, San Francisco. These coins are struck in copper-nickel-clad composition and feature the iconic Apollo 11-inspired eagle landing reverse design, symbolizing America's space achievement and modern history. At first glance, these coins may appear dirty, worn, and heavily circulated, just ordinary dollar coins used in everyday transactions. But don't be fooled. Certain rare mint errors, varieties, and high-grade condition examples have turned some of these seemingly common coins into collector treasures worth thousands, and in rare cases, even more, dollars today. Money bag. So before you spend that old dollar coin sitting in your pocket or collection, stick around, because you might be holding a hidden fortune in your hands. Backhand index pointing right first up. Coin number 1. A coin that most people never truly notice, something so ordinary that it quietly moves through millions of hands every single day without ever being questioned. The 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar from the United States Mint is exactly that kind of coin. At first glance, it feels simple, almost forgettable, a small golden-colored dollar coin that looks similar to other everyday change. Nothing about it immediately suggests rarity. Nothing about it demands attention. And that is exactly why it has lived such an unnoticed life for decades. But every object that circulates through time carries a hidden story, and this coin is no exception. When it was first introduced, it was meant to represent something powerful and historic. For the first time in U.S. circulating coinage, a real woman was placed on a dollar coin, Susan B. Anthony. This was not just a design choice, it was a statement. A message of progress, equality, and recognition. The coin was meant to modernize everyday money and give it a new identity that reflected social change. On the reverse side, the design carried another layer of meaning. A bold eagle landing on the moon, inspired by the achievements of space exploration and connected to the era of the Apollo 11 moon landing. At that time, space was not just science, it was ambition. It was human achievement reaching beyond limits. And placing that symbol on a coin was meant to show progress in both technology and identity. But reality did not follow expectation. When the coin entered circulation, something unexpected happened. People were confused. The size was too similar to a quarter. The color was too similar to other coins. The usage became inconvenient. Instead of becoming widely accepted, the coin often ended up ignored, misunderstood, or simply not used as intended. Over time, it quietly disappeared from everyday attention, even though it continued circulating across the country. Now imagine holding one today. A 1979 D Mint mark coin from the United States Mint. It is worn. Scratched. Its original shine has faded into a dull tone shaped by decades of movement. The edges are softened. The surface carries marks of time. It feels like a coin that has already completed its journey, something that no longer has anything left to reveal. But that assumption is where most people stop. Because collectors don't stop there. They go deeper. They understand that during mass production at the United States Mint, millions of coins are struck under pressure, speed, and mechanical repetition. And in that process, small variations naturally occur. Not dramatic mistakes, but subtle differences that only become visible under careful inspection. A weak strike where design details are slightly faded. A minor die mark caused by wear in minting equipment. A small shift in alignment that changes how light reflects across the surface. These details are not obvious. They are not advertised. but they exist. And that possibility alone changes everything. Because once you realize that even common coins might carry small differences, your entire way of looking changes. You stop seeing coins as just currency. You start seeing them as objects that might carry hidden characteristics waiting to be noticed. And so the coin is turned under light. Slowly. Carefully. The surface is studied from different angles. The portrait of Susan B. Anthony is examined for clarity. The reverse eagle is checked for sharpness. The edges are observed for wear patterns. Every small detail becomes part of a silent investigation. And in that moment, the coin transforms. Not physically, but mentally. Because attention changes perception. And perception creates curiosity. But here is where reality must stay grounded. A standard 1979 D Susan B. Anthony dollar in worn, circulated condition is not $1 million coin. It is not secretly hiding extraordinary wealth. It was produced in large numbers and intended for circulation. Most examples remain close to face value unless they contain rare mint errors or exist in high-grade uncirculated condition. Still, the fascination continues. Because coin collecting is not only about confirmed value. It is about possibility. The possibility that something ordinary might contain something unusual. And that idea alone is powerful enough to keep people searching, examining, and questioning what others ignore. This coin, in its simplest form, becomes a lesson. A reminder that history is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet, worn, and sitting unnoticed in everyday life. And once you learn to see that, even a simple coin in your hand stops being just change and starts becoming a story waiting to be discovered, a coin that most people see every single day, but almost no one ever truly stops to understand. The 1999 D Susan B. Anthony dollar from the United States Mint is one of those pieces of currency that quietly exists in circulation, often ignored, often misunderstood, and almost always underestimated. It doesn't shine like silver, it doesn't feel rare in the hand, and it doesn't immediately create excitement. It simply blends into everyday life, becoming part of transactions, wallets, vending machines, and loose change jars without ever drawing attention. But every coin, no matter how ordinary it looks, carries a deeper story beneath its surface. This coin represents a turning point in American currency design. For the first time in U.S. circulating dollar history, a real historical woman was featured on a widely used coin, Susan B. Anthony. This was not just a design change, it was a powerful message. A recognition of progress, equality, and the importance of honoring individuals who shaped social history. The idea was to modernize the dollar system and bring a new identity to everyday money. On the reverse side, the coin carries another layer of symbolism. The design features an eagle landing on the moon, inspired by the achievements of space exploration and connected to the legacy of the Apollo 11 moon landing. At the time of its inspiration, space exploration represented ambition, innovation, and human progress reaching beyond Earth itself. That symbolism was embedded into the coin to reflect hope for the future. But despite its meaning, reality unfolded differently. When the coin entered circulation, people struggled to use it comfortably. Its size was very close to a quarter, and its color created confusion during everyday transactions. Because of that, it was often overlooked, mistaken, or simply not used properly. Over time, instead of becoming a widely accepted symbol of modernization, it became one of the most misunderstood dollar coins in U.S. circulation history. Now imagine holding a 1999 D Mint Mark version today. It feels heavy in history, but light in appearance. The surface is worn down from years of circulation. The original shine has faded into a dull metallic tone shaped by time and use. The details on the coin are softened, especially around high-contact areas where thousands of hands have touched it over the years. It feels like something ordinary, something already finished its purpose. But that is where most people stop thinking. Because collectors don't stop at appearance. They go deeper. During mass production at the United States Mint, millions of coins are struck using high-speed machinery designed for precision and repetition. However, even in controlled environments, no system is perfect. Small variations naturally occur during the minting process. Some coins may come out with slightly weaker strikes where design details are not fully sharp. Some may show faint die marks caused by repeated use of minting equipment. Others may have subtle alignment differences that only become noticeable under careful inspection. These are not dramatic errors. They are small production variations. But in coin collecting, even the smallest variation can change how a coin is viewed. Now imagine studying this coin closely. You hold it under a light source. You rotate it slowly between your fingers. You observe the portrait of Susan B. Anthony and examine how clearly the facial details are preserved. You turn it to the reverse side and look at the eagle landing on the moon, connecting it mentally to the era of the Apollo 11 moon landing. You check edges, surface texture, and fine details that most people never bother to notice. And in that moment, the coin changes its identity. Not physically, but mentally. Because attention creates meaning. And meaning creates curiosity. But here is where reality must stay grounded and clear. A standard 1999 D Susan B. Anthony dollar in worn, circulated condition is not a $1 million coin. It is not secretly hiding extreme wealth. It was produced in large quantities and most examples remain close to face value unless they show rare mint errors or exist in exceptional uncirculated condition. Still, the reason it continues to attract attention is not guaranteed value. It is possibility. Because coin collecting is built on a simple idea, even ordinary objects might sometimes contain small differences worth discovering. And that idea keeps people searching, comparing, and examining coins that others would normally ignore without a second thought. So this coin becomes more than just currency. It becomes a reminder. A reminder that history is not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it is quiet, worn, and sitting in your pocket without you ever realizing it. And once you begin to see it that way, even simple change stops feeling ordinary. And starts feeling like something worth a second look. A coin that looks extremely ordinary at first glance, but carries a surprising depth of history, design intention, and public reaction that most people never truly understand. The 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar from the United States Mint is one of those coins that often goes completely unnoticed in everyday life. It passes through hands, wallets, vending machines, and cash registers without creating any attention. Small in size, golden in color, and similar in feel to other circulating coins, it blends into daily transactions so naturally that most people never stop to question it. But behind this simplicity, there is a long and meaningful story. This coin represents a major shift in American currency design. For the first time in U.S. history, a real woman was featured on a circulating dollar coin, Susan B. Anthony. This was not just a design update, it was a historical decision meant to recognize contribution, equality, and representation in national currency. The goal was to bring a new identity to the dollar system, replacing older symbolic designs with real historical influence. On the reverse side, the coin carries an eagle landing on the moon, a design inspired by the achievements of space exploration and tied to the legacy of the Apollo 11 moon landing. This imagery was meant to represent progress, science, and human achievement reaching beyond Earth. It connected everyday money with one of the most powerful milestones in human history. Now imagine holding a 1979 Mint mark version today. It looks worn. Heavily circulated. The surface has lost its original shine after decades of use. Scratches, soft edges, and faded details are visible under light. It feels like a coin that has already lived its entire journey in circulation. Nothing about its appearance suggests rarity. Nothing about it makes it look valuable. It feels like something that has completed its purpose long ago. And that is exactly where most people stop thinking. Because most people judge coins only by appearance. But collectors think differently. They understand that every coin produced at the United States Mint passes through high-speed minting processes where millions of identical coins are struck under mechanical pressure. And in that environment, perfection is not absolute. Small variations naturally occur. Some coins may show slightly weak strikes where fine details are not fully sharp. Some may have minor die marks created by repeated use of minting tools. Others may show subtle differences in surface texture that become visible only under careful inspection. These are not dramatic errors. They are subtle mint variations. But in the world of coin collecting, subtle details are often what create curiosity. Now imagine slowly examining this coin. It is held under a light source, rotated gently between fingers. The observer studies the portrait of Susan B. Anthony, checking how clearly the facial features are preserved after decades of circulation. Then the reverse side is studied, focusing on the eagle landing on the moon, connecting it mentally to the Apollo-era symbolism of the Apollo 11 moon landing. Every detail becomes part of a silent investigation, every mark becomes something worth observing. And in that moment, the coin transforms in perception. Not physically, but mentally. Because attention changes meaning. And meaning creates curiosity. But here is the most important reality that must stay clear. A normal 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar in worn, circulated condition is not a $1 million coin. It is not a guaranteed rare treasure. It was produced in large numbers, and most examples remain close to face value unless they contain rare mint errors or exist in exceptional uncirculated condition. Still, the reason this coin continues to appear in discussions is not guaranteed wealth. It is possibility. Because coin collecting is not only about confirmed value. It is about discovery. The idea that something ordinary might contain something unusual, something most people would never notice in everyday life. And that idea alone is powerful enough to make people look twice, examine closer, and question what they normally ignore. So this coin becomes more than just currency. It becomes a reminder. A reminder that history is not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it exists quietly, in worn surfaces, in forgotten change, and in small objects that pass through life without attention. And once you begin to see coins this way, even the simplest dollar in your hand stops feeling ordinary. And starts feeling like a piece of hidden history waiting to be discovered.